this video is so important to share.
They shaved the men's heads and private parts.
Yes, this is true.
Do you know why?
I think they thought maybe it amused them or, humiliated. I felt humiliated.
You told us that your spirit was broken.
Yes.
One of the toughest things that I heard from them, they told me more than once that why to stay alive now? I mean, why just to not take their own life with their own hands and to finish it? I mean, to get released from this.
And they will do it together if they decide to do it.
They were murdered in cold blood, bare hands. They used to tell me, doesn't matter, you get a new wife, get a new kids, better wife, better kids.
They said that to you?
Yeah, many times. Many times.
I witnessed a young woman who was being tortured by the terrorists. I mean, literal, torture.
They made you watch it?
Yeah. I saw sexual assault with female hostages.
But they were resourceful, coming up with odd ways to win favors. For instance, they discovered one of the guards liked back rubs.
So we did exchange. He will get a massage every day and he will bring us more food and different food like a can of meat, a can of tuna or sardines. You don't need too much to stay alive. You can eat only one bread every day, 200 milliliters of water every day, and you will stay alive.
You proved you could do it.
Yeah.
It's insane what the human body can do to survive. And what these hostages and some of the remaining hostages that are there, the things that they're undergoing just to stay alive. One day you're just dancing in a party or just waking up Saturday morning with your family, probably planning on going on a picnic or a trip, and then you end up there for over 500 days in the hands of these monsters. Don't let anyone fool you. They're not freedom fighters. They're not oppressed in any way. They're the oppressors. They're just not so good at it in terms of, a global scale. So they're failing. But there's nothing different between these guys and the Nazis. Only a more barbaric, a more religious version of Nazis. That's what Hamas is, and that's what radical jihadists are. Listen, there's more.
They were beating me and starving me.
Do you think they starved you or they just didn't have food?
No, I think they starved me, and they would often eat in front of me and not offer me food.
I can tell you what, if there's one group that was not hungry in Gaza, it's Hamas. And the reason is because Israel kept sending them humanitarian aid and food, and they kept kidnapping these trucks in front of our eyes. There's so many videos showing how they did that. While their own people are starving and while the hostages are definitely starving, and they used to just sit there and eat in front of the hostages or go out and punish and beat any of the Gazans that tried to steal the food that was given by humanitarian aid. And that's why I kept saying from the beginning of the war, there's no sense in sending humanitarian aid into Gaza. I wish there was, but there's no sense. It's literally just becoming a life ring for Hamas. It's becoming their oxygen. That's the way that they survive, and they keep doing what they're doing, and the West need to wake up. If you want to defeat radical Islam, you need to defeat radical Islam. You don't send them food, you don't send them aid. It doesn't work that way. That's how you prolong, and that's how they play on what's the West care about, on your nerves, on your humanitarian heart. Because you care about human life, and that's great. I am so lucky that I live in a country that cares about humanitarian life values, that cares about humans, that cares about freedom, everything. I'm so lucky to be living in that country that gives me opportunities, but they don't care about these things, but they know that you do, so they will abuse any way they can, so you should not give them any excuse to do that. Now listen to the next video.
I'm here because of Trump. I'm here only because of him. I think he's the only one who can stop this war again.
So you think he can bring about another ceasefire?
He has to convince Netanyahu, to convince Hamas. I think he can do it.
He said something very interesting here. First of all, he is admitting I'm here because of Trump, not of Biden and all these other woke mumbo-jumbo guys. Trump was the first US president for a long time, well, since Trump was elected, or last election, that came and showed power and respect, that came and showed that we don't play a game with these guys, and we got to show them that we mean business. And then they all start falling back and, decided, they want to give up and release hostages and etc. Amazing how that worked, huh? This guy had his wife and his 2 babies, Ariel and Kfir, the Bibas family, kidnapped and murdered with bare hand. They were strangled, and then they tried to deform the bodies and bash them with rocks and terrible things. And then they went and they told him that they did that. Some of us remember that video when he was breaking and crying when he heard the news, and then they kept laughing at him. Imagine being in that place. Now he come out of there, and that's what he's saying. I'm here because of Trump, and if only Bibi and others would listen and would let Trump, he can probably do that again. Now it's very interesting that he mentioned Bibi, because that's another player that is very crucial in that game. And people tend to think that Bibi is as, warmonger and military strong. But you'd be surprised. He's actually the one many times, kind of holding back. When Trump gave him the opportunity and said, hey, listen, until tomorrow, if they didn't do it, do whatever you want with him. He didn't. So that's a very interesting fact to know. And I'm not taking sides here. I'm just pointing something that is very interesting and people sometimes kind of misinterpret it. So he's saying, I'm here because of Trump. And I can't agree more with that. Trump is finally showing power and respect. And yeah, that's a crazy interview that will happen. I think they call it 60 minutes. I strongly recommend to watch the entire interview. It is just so important that we keep sharing with the world the voices of these hostages, just so we can understand what's happening on the remaining friends that are still there. And also so we can start pressuring the West governments and the Muslim world to join and start pressuring Hamas to stop this genocidal, barbaric war that they started, and they are the ones holding it. Israel is not prolonging the war. Israel would have ended the war long ago if the hostages were back and Hamas would have surrendered. Now, why am I saying Hamas would have surrendered? And you need to understand that. It's not, they're freedom fighters. No, they're not. Hamas are a genocidal terrorist organization that's sworn that they will annihilate the Jews, the only Jewish state, and will not stop there. All of the Jews around the world, and then the Christians. So that's not someone that you want living in your neighborhood. That's not someone that you want to continue committing the crimes, because that's a very evil entity. Now, Hamas should definitely surrender. So if Hamas cared about ending this war, they would have surrendered long ago and said, you know what? Even just surrender and run away. Surrender, run away, don't face justice. They'll find you, but don't face justice. They didn't even do that. They kept holding their people as human shields, and they kept prolonging this war, and they kept just manipulating the West. And the only one that is not falling for it anymore right now is Biden. He was falling for the right, left, and center. Is Trump and the new administration. And that's why, guys, it is important that we keep sharing the truth and keep sharing videos like that helps amplify the voice of these hostages that are trying to save their friends who are still standing there. Every minute count, every day is crucial. Could be the last day. They're not being held by reasonable people. They're being held by a bunch of barbarians, and many of them honestly just have very low IQ. I'm not kidding. I've faced these terrorists before in my life. People tend to give them more credit than they deserve. They're just a bunch of idiots. Their parents were cousins. One second. اتقبلت للفوضى حبيبي. ايوه عليك ايوه عليك ايوه عليك. يا حبيبي يا حبيبي לוקה תן לי חוזר אליך, אני באמצע לצלם. I forgot what it was. Some of them are just simply pure stupid and violent and vile and just crazy. And that's the kind of people that we're dealing with right now, and every second count. Every second. You know what? Not only are they stupid and crazy, they're extremely religious. They're honestly believing that this is the greatest thing that they can do in their life, which is to die in the name of jihad and to kill as many people as they can with them. So they're waiting for that fate. So that's the kind of people we're dealing with here. And yeah, every second counts.